Hey guys, I want to talk to you about medical students who are graduating medical school and are you actually really a doctor? Well, right now it's March, and March is a huge month in the medical community. And the reason for that, there's something called the National Resident Match Program. And what this means is that you're a fourth year medical student, or perhaps you recently graduated from medical school and now you need to do medical training as a physician who is has a medical degree, and you need to do training in a specialty. And these specialties can be anywhere from 3 to 7 years in duration. And so how do these freshly minted doctors figure out where they're going to go, what specialty, and all of that? Well, there's something called the NRMP that holds a match in March. And what happens is throughout the year, so basically in the fall into the winter, medical students, fourth year medical students, or those who recently graduated from medical school, they'll actually go on interviews at prospective programs that they're interested in applying to for a residency position. And this covers all the different specialties. So let's say you want to go into family medicine. You would go interview at family medicine residency programs, and those are 3 years. Or maybe you want to go into neurosurgery, and that's about a 7 year surgical specialty. And so you would go in and interview at neurosurgery programs. So you go on your interviews, you kind of see what the programs have to offer, what you like in the program, what they like in you. And then at the end of that, you come back home or wherever you're going to be at, and you go and you, in winter, about February leading into March, you're going to make a rank list. And what this is you're going to rank all the programs that you interviewed at in accordance to which is going to be your top preference that you want to attend for this residency. And then on the other side, all the residency programs, they're going to go rank all the applicants, the medical students, or the newly minted physicians for how they want to rank those applicants for that process. And then you have a computer that uses an algorithm that kind of puts all the pieces together to see where an applicant's actually going to end up for their residency, and that's called the match. And so people are like, well, what if you rank somewhere high and the program ranks you low? Well, how the algorithm works, it actually defaults to the applicant where they're going to get the higher preference. So that's going to get the more preference on where you're going to go at. And so you have this rank comes out, and then what happens is you have match week. Match week is usually about the third week in March. And so then on Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you get a notification in regards to whether you matched or not. And so you want to get a notification that says, congratulations, you match, you're now ineligible for the SOAP. So that means you know that you're going to be in future training down the road. However, you don't know what specific program you're going to be at. Now, for the people who did not match, there's something called the SOAP. And what the SOAP is, that's when there's unfilled positions that are available, and then applicants who obviously didn't match, they're going to go and get all their credentials, their board scores, your letters of recommendations, their dean committee letter, and all for the MSPE, their medical school personal evaluation, all of that stuff together. And they're going to start submitting it to programs that have openings available. And so it's kind of, they used to previously referred to as a scramble. So basically you're scrambling, trying to get everything together to see if one of these programs that has an opening available is going to take you on for a spot for you to pursue your residency. And so they start filling all that paperwork, get that done, and then by Thursday have that kind of submitted and taken care of. And then the big day of this match week, then for everybody, is Friday of match week. And at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, the official match results come out. And what that means is you get a notification not only of the specialty you matched into, but most people only apply to one specialty. So they know what specialty they're going to match in. They just don't know the specific program. Well, you get the name of the specific program and specialty, obviously. So now applicants know exactly where they're going. They can say, oh, I'm going to Harvard for psychiatry. I'm going to U Chicago for general surgery. I'm going to UCLA for emergency medicine. Because before then, they might have just known that, oh, I matched into psychiatry, I matched into general surgery, or I matched into emergency medicine, but they didn't know what specific residency program they're going to be at. And so that's a huge accomplishment. And you see everybody posting, like, I'm going to be a doctor, it's official, and all of this stuff. And they're like so excited and happy about that. And the reason why this is a significant deal is because residency is like apprenticeship. It can be anywhere from 3 years to 7 years, depending what you specialize in. The shorter ones, emergency medicine can be anywhere from 3 to 4 years. Internal medicine is about 3 years. And then OB-GYN's 4 years. Anesthesiology is 4 years. And then at 5 years is general surgery, orthopedic surgery, ENT, plastic surgery is about 6 years. And if you do an integrated program, urology is about 6 years or so, and then neurosurgery was one of the longer ones at 7 years or so. So you have all that. So that's a long time that you're going to be in this residency program for 3 to 7 years or so. And what the thing is, a lot of states, and I think I'm not sure even on the federal level, you need to complete a residency or do so many hours of postgraduate training to be qualified to receive a medical license. So yes, you can actually graduate medical school, not match into a residency program, and then not be allowed to practice medicine as a physician because you have not gone through residency. So that's why these residencies are so important, because it allows you to, I like to use the example, it's like an apprenticeship. It's basically on the job training for how to be a specific type of a doctor, because you do graduate medical school and you're a physician, but you're not licensed to practice medicine. And so graduation for most medical schools usually is about uh, April, more likely May and June, and then all residencies start in July. And so the applicants or the fourth year medical students, they're so excited. They find out about the match in March, as we said, and then they have some time to relax and get really excited about starting residency and do everything that they need to do to get ready for residency and also graduation. And then once July 1st hits, they start their intern year of residency, because the first year of residence referred to as intern year. And so, as you can see, this is a very, very controlled process for how we go about training physicians to practice medicine in the United States. And some people, they feel like the process isn't fair. And one of the things is that you need to go through a residency program to be licensed to practice medicine in the United States. And there's a problem with that. There's a cap on the number of residency programs that are available, because they're funded positions by the government or so, that for the hospitals to take on these trainees. And however, there are more people applying to residency positions than spaces available, where each year there's about 7,000 residency applicants who do not get a position by no fault of their own. It's just that there aren't enough slots available. And what makes this even more problematic is when you think about the fact that in the United States, we're expanding our medical schools. So we're opening up more and more medical schools. So that means more students are going through medical school, taking on significant amounts of debt to attend medical school, then graduate as a physician. And then unfortunately, they graduate And some people just may not have a spot available to them. So imagine you put 4 years of your life, your time, took out all these loans or however you funded your education, and now you don't have anything and you basically really can't do anything with a medical degree without a residency. It's not like you can go and be a nurse because you need to meet certain criteria for that. It's not like you can be a physician assistant because you need to meet certain required criteria for that. So you're basically in a very, very bad place if you don't match. And so that's an issue that needs to really be addressed. And just a little history lesson with that is in 2002, yeah, look back at 20 years ago, people thought the match process wasn't fair and they used the word monopoly and antitrust. Because I'll use an analogy or another example is lawyers. I'm identical twin. My twin brother's a lawyer. So he did 3 years of law school, which is the normal case for law students. You do 3 years. You take the bar exam, which is so you can be a licensed attorney, and then you go and you work. And with that, people who graduate from law school, they can just pick and choose where they want to work. Some people want to work at law firms, some want to do nonprofit, some want to be public defenders, some want to work in the court system and do all of that, and they're just totally free to go where they want to do. That's like any person who wants to get a job after they graduate college or grad school or anything like that. But with medicine, nope, you have to go through this one process, this one match. And some residents felt like this is unfair, this is biased, we have to pay all this money to apply to these residency programs, there's no guarantee that we're going to even get a position, and there's just all these different biases. So they wanted to bring a lawsuit in 2002. They brought the lawsuit, and then I like to use this is what the powers that be, they said, no, this isn't good. We don't want this to happen. And so they had lobbyists, because this was like what is it, American Hospital Association, the AAMC, Association of American Medical Colleges. They all got together. They're like, no, we can't have this occur with the match process. We need to keep it in place. And they lobbied saying like, no, this ensures uniform training. This makes sure there's no backroom deals or anything like that. This is good for residents, hospitals, and patients alike. We need to keep this as is. And so they lobbied Congress, and they decided to write a law, and then it was signed into law by President George W. Bush so that the match could stay how it is and it's not considered a monopoly or antitrust. But when you think about it from a perspective of you only have one pathway to become a licensed physician in the United States of America. And so when you don't have choice, when you don't have options, there are some disadvantages to that. One would be depressed wages for resident physicians. So you spend all this time in school getting your medical degree, then you're going to start working in a hospital. You're going to work 80 hours a week at the hospital. However, your compensation generally is only anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 per year. Now think about this: you're working 80 hours a week and you're getting only $50,000 to $70,000 a year. You can run the math on that, and you can see that these residents are making like basically minimum wage for the time and after they're working. And why can't the prices go up? Because the hospitals and people in charge of the match, they have no incentive because you have no other option because of how the law is written in regards to that. So basically the residents have to basically suck it up and just do it. And you have older attending physicians already went through residency say, well, we went through it, so you guys need to deal with it, and just know at the end of the day, after you finish residency, your wages will go up. But is that really equitable in how things should be? Not really. Because you think about it, you have nurses making more money, you have physician assistants making more money, and basically it's residents are very cheap labor for a hospital. You think about how much you pay for a physician, a resident physician, 50 to 70,000 a year, and then you think about all the work they do for the hospital, the patients they treat, the procedures that they do, and how much money the hospital bills the patients. You can I don't have a calculator in front of me. I haven't looked at the data recently, but easily two, three, four times the amount of a salary that a resident physician gets paid is what the hospital is billing. So they're making a lot of profit and revenue on the back of resident labor. And so residents are very upset about that. They want to kind of have a living wage or whatever, because when you think about it, you only have $5,000 a month coming in, and that's before taxes. And then you have to figure out your cost of living, so your housing, all that other stuff. And then if you have and it's medical school, so most people are going to have 6 figures of student loan debt, and you're not going to be able to pay that off on a resident salary. You're barely making it by ends meet or whatever. Then you have this, and so you're in residency, so you're going to defer your student loan payments. So you think about that. If you have 6 figures of student loan debt and you're going to defer that for 3 to 7 years because you're in residency training, think about how fast that's going to balloon with interest rate, and it's just basically a big hole that you're falling into, where you have people who are saying like, yeah, my student loans while I was in residency, I couldn't pay them off or anything like that, actually ballooned, so now I owe an additional $70,000 on top of the original balance, just because of the interest applied during the time that I was in residency and training for that. And so that's one thing right there. And then even because of the legislation how it is, residents want to kind of unionize to have some more equitable services. But again, that's not possible because of how the residency process works and everything like that. And so you have issues with that, where people want to do things to just have a little bit more work-life balance, and they can't, because a residency controls everything. And they even use words about it's a training program, not necessarily employment, as a way to get around things. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know all the ins and outs about that, but it's just something that happens. So these are some things that I want you guys to be aware about when it comes to the residency and the match in particular. So this is like a very exciting week for people, because they're graduating medical school, they're recent graduates of medical school, and they're finding out that all my hard work over the last 4 years pay off. They know they're going to be a doctor, but if you're a doctor without a residency program, having that MD, DO behind your name is kind of meaningless if you really can't practice medicine because you're not licensed. So that's why, even with all of the cons around the residency process and how it works, because everybody's like shuttled in one way, and there's no like off ramps or doing stuff a little bit different. Everybody just goes through this process. There is excitement with that, because unfortunately it's just basically you gotta bid your time, do what you need to do, and then know that once residency is over, you're going to have a lot more options like everybody else would have when it comes to employment or what you want to do with your life. But until then, you just kind of need to suck it up and do what you need to do. And again, like, for everybody who's applying, congratulations to you. Everybody who's been through the match, congratulations to you. And we have some unmatched individuals. We have a lot of them, unfortunately, just because of how the numbers work. And we hope that they can soap in and find positions. And I know a lot of people who don't match, they'll either do like a preliminary year, like a 1-year internship somewhere, or they'll decide to do research, or they'll do something totally not even related to medicine and just come back and reapply for the following year. So something like that. But this, I just wanted to kind of share of what's happening in medicine when you guys hear about the match and what does that mean in a training of a physician and a national resident matching program, how that process works. So you guys are informed about that. But the big day again is going to be on that Friday in March when applicants who have matched found out specifically what program they're going to be spending the next 3 to 7 years of their lives practicing their basically what I call an apprenticeship on how to be that specific type of physician. Take care.